I'm Councilman Joe McCallum of the Great West Ward in the city of Newark, and this is another edition of Councilman Joe's West Ward Corner. Councilman Joe's West Ward Corner is a show that we use to give information to the community about health, economic development, public safety, entrepreneurship, and other things that are vital to the community, the Newark community. Today, I have a friend of mine, a young gentleman whom I met a while back, who is an entrepreneur, and he owns buildings, and he also owns Club de Rouge down here on Broad Street. How are you doing? It's Mr. Benedict Guerrier. Mr. Guerrier is a 34-year-old entrepreneur here in Newark. He owns several properties in my ward, our ward, the West Ward, and he also, as I stated earlier, owns Club de Rouge down here, which is a club. What's the address, Benedict?
972 Broad Street.
972 Broad Street, right next to the Federal Building in downtown Newark. I've been to his club several times just to say hello, to support him. He keeps a lot of young people engaged and off of the streets, gives them something positive to do.
Absolutely.
And I thought it would be a good thing to have Mr. Benedict on the show today, just to talk about what motivates him, how he became an entrepreneur, what his future plans are, and how he can affect change in the West Ward. Because when we talk, he always has a lot of interest in the West Ward, and as he does for all of Newark, but primarily in the West Ward because he owns properties there. And I thought it'd be very interesting for our young people and the rest of our residents to hear what Mr. Benedict Guerrier has to say. Benedict, again, how are you?
Doing good.
Thanks for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Benedict, what made you want to become an entrepreneur?
I think it was in 2005. I was working for Warner Music Group out in California, and I worked about there for about 8 months. It was a great paying job, and at the time I think there was going to be a merger with the company, with Warner Music Group, and I believe it was Viacom, and I was one of the guys on the lower totem pole, and they gave me a small severance package, and I was let go. At the time I was 23 years old, and I didn't like the fact that someone had control of my financial future. And from that point, I decided to become an entrepreneur. I started off by throwing events, buying and selling cars, and then I was introduced to real estate, and that just became the love of my life.
Okay, so you've been well versed in entrepreneurship, selling cars and doing events, and
yeah, amongst other things. And
now you started purchasing properties?
Yeah, being a small venture capitalist.
Okay. Tell us about some of the properties that you own in the West Ward.
I primarily focus on buying multifamilies, 2 and 3 families. The reason being is I believe in first-time home ownership, and that is the basis of a strong community. I'm not really a guy that wants to keep properties long-term. Matter of fact, I like to talk to my tenants periodically about repairing their credit, and as opposed to being a tenant, possibly becoming a homeowner, because that $1,200 to $1,500 that you're paying me monthly is almost half of what the mortgage is, and the other 2 apartments is going to pay for the entire mortgage. And why not become a homeowner in your community? That gives you a sense of self-worth, and it just brings a stronger tie to the community because they feel like they own it. Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm glad to hear that you're not just in this just for the money, that you're actually mentoring potential homeowners,
absolutely,
home buyers, and that's what we do need in the community, so that people that own the properties have more interest in the properties. And one of the issues that I'm facing in my ward now is that we have a lot of developers who are purchasing, or investors who are purchasing the properties, and they're not really interested other than just owning the property and as an investment.
Right.
And they rent to people who don't keep the properties up. So people that have been long-standing homeowners in the West Ward are living next to people who are renting, who don't have a vested interest in the property.
Absolutely.
And it's causing a lot of conflict in the community. So let me just say, your idea of home ownership is very important. Go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Absolutely. More than the home ownership, when I buy a dilapidated house in the community, I also engage, what they peg as, you know, the troublemakers in the area. I use the young guys, you know, who may be doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I teach them the craft. I might have them do the gut outs. I might have used the local people in the community to stimulate the job economy, to cut down on the carbon footprint. So these guys that may be doing graffiti and, you know, are ostracized and, you know, that are badgered, they feel like, wow, I'm learning plumbing, I'm learning electrical, I'm learning, yes. And so these same guys that were possibly the troublemakers in the area, they could walk by and say, wow, I was part of that reconstruction of this area. And South 13th, between Gould and 9th Avenue, I acquired 10 to 11 properties in that area, systematically right next to each other. One, it increased the property value, and it's building an entire community, and everybody gets a sense of community there. I've adopted lots there. I've bought youth build to put these properties, these vacant lots together, planted trees. So it's more than just buying, fixing, and selling. You have to engage the community.
And you know, that was a smart buy, because the Donald M. Payne Vocational Trade School is going in that area at the old United Hospital site. So whereas a lot of the properties have been blighted, they're going to be uplifted now in the whole community. The values of the properties will go up, as you stated. So you're a smart investor.
I remember talking to Dr. Pembleton and going to those community West Ward meetings. At the time, it was Councilman Rice, and really being engaged in that community. And Newark is 15 minutes outside of the heartbeat of the world, which is New York City. So there's no way that geographically it won't be worth a lot of money.
Oh, so I see you studied urban sociology also. The concentric circle.
Definitely,
definitely. New York is pushing.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's pushing to the West Ward.
It's pushing
so
to
you understand that. For a young guy, took me a lot of years to learn those types of things.
Yeah.
For a young guy,
you're pretty young yourself.
but you're absolutely right. And that's the leverage that we use when we're discussing the West Ward development. The location, close to the highways, close to train stations, 10, 15 minutes from the airport.
Right.
So we're in a very valued location right now.
It's the California gold rush.
So they keep me hopping with meetings. Everybody wants to come to the
Everybody
West
wants a piece of you.
But
And you're a very nice guy, too.
Well, thanks. They'll probably edit that part out. But thank you. You know, we've had some great discussions. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted you on the show, because I want people to know what you're doing. I want other young people to see what you're doing, and that they can do it themselves. If you can see it, you can believe it, you can do it, and
you just have to want it.
You have to want it.
You have to
but you have to research it and be prepared for the opportunities. What do you see in the future? What are your ideas of the future? I know we've talked about some things that you want to do. You're helping young people. You're dealing with Youth Build, trying to mentor young people, give them opportunities to learn trades. But what are some of the other things you see for yourself moving forward?
One of the last pieces that I want to actually do is banking. Until we control our own banking in our communities, you know, we're really at other people's mercy, you know, and it has nothing to do with, you know, race, religion. It's just you have to be able to bank yourself and to be able to fund your own ideas. And that's one of the last pieces. I've opened up vocational school. I've done tons of real estate. And I've done La Rouge Restaurant and Lounge. And the reason I've done all of these things, because you can't come into a community that that's lacking a lot of things and just build houses. Once you house the people, you have to educate the people, you have to employ the people, you have to entertain the people, and lastly, you bank with the people.
Exactly.
And so that's really like the five-headed star that I really want to put together.
Right, and I know we talked about you getting involved with Newark Community Economic Development, setting up meetings where you can maybe do some other things, get involved with some other businesses downtown.
Definitely.
And so we look forward to you getting involved with that also. What do you think about the future of Newark?
I love it. Newark is it's just so strategically well placed. I just hate that constantly only things that's focused on is the crime, the violence, when there's tons of people that's doing great things, great businesses. I don't like the fact that we only focus on the negativity. But Newark is one of the fastest growing cities on the East Coast. There's tons of money being
really
dumped
is.
here. And more than the money, there's a lot of people that care. And again, like I said, Newark's geographical.
Starting with the mayor.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, leadership, the mayor sets the tone.
Hmm.
I know he motivates me. I see how much he moves around the city and he's trying to be seen. I see the naysayers.
That's right.
And
He's approachable, and that's
yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's there.
You see him.
Yep. I remember him walking when he was a councilman and just shaking everybody's hands, meeting me, and you know, prior to him becoming mayor. And then I had the same conversation with him about, you know, redoing entire neighborhoods, allowing me to speak at his school at the time. Great person.
And I try to, you know, model myself in that fashion. That's why sometimes I'll pop into Club La Rouge if I'm downtown. I'll just pop in and say hello. And, you know, people seem to be surprised when a council person pops in, but that's all I know. I was raised here in Newark, and
Absolutely.
I support the citizens of Newark. So.
And I just think that a lot of people just don't understand the amount of pressure when it comes to leadership that you go through, and it doesn't matter if you're the manager of, like, let's say the McDonald's. Just, you know, the people that's not the managers, they assume that, you know, you have all the power and everything is rosy. So I think if people really take an in-depth look on, you know, the pressures that come with being in leadership, and a lot of times we actually get less than everyone else, and it's just for the sake of progressive movement, you know. So he has my vote 100%.
And you know, one of the things that we deal with is that you had ideas, but you did the research. You know, you had a plan. You know, you saw what you wanted to do. You went about finding out how to go about doing it. You researched it. You implemented the plan. But there's so many people that come to you, oh, I want to buy properties. I want to open this business. But they haven't done the research, and they want me or the mayor to do the research. And I don't have the time or the desire to do the research.
Right.
You know, I'll help anybody that I can help, but you have to do the research. And that is one of the biggest issues that we have to deal with, is people wanting to have all these ideas, but haven't really thought it through or started the process. And I'm like, where's your business plan, your proposal? Show me something, you know. So I'm glad to see that you are actually well-versed in business principles, and at least putting a proposal together.
That's right.
And showing someone the proposal and the plan. So tell me, are you a religious person? That's just a little off the beaten path. What's your religious views?
I'm more of a spiritual person. I've studied a lot of religions, from Islam, from Catholicism, Judaism, and I've come to find out that you know, what we call God, the Most High, you know, it's just universal love. It's just the language of love. Everybody wants safety for their family. Everybody just wants to be able to walk down the street and, you know, be said hi to. And I think it's us that, as humans, that put I guess you would say, like, barriers between each other. And, you know, in studying all these religions, you know, the bottom line of it, or the core, the foundation, is all love and communication.
And it's about humility and gratitude. Humility will allow you to understand your place in the world and how you relate to other human beings.
That's right.
And keep you modest. I know years ago, one of the best things anyone ever told me, because when I was younger, you know, someone would say something to you and always had a but. You know, instead of just receiving information, I would say but, have a reason why or excuse why. So I took the word but out of my vocabulary. I never used the word but, because but what? Behind the word but is going to come an excuse or a rationalization or a justification.
Absolutely.
So I don't even use the word but. So he told me, he said, you better learn how to be humble. And a lot of people knew him, the great Suleiman, when I worked at the Veterans Administration. He was like a philosopher, great, mentored a lot of us. And he said, you better learn humility. And that's the best thing anyone ever told me, was to be humble, because through humility comes gratitude, and from gratitude all things can happen.
Absolutely.
And like, no high highs, no low lows. So it's great that you learned that at an earlier age than I did. But you did, but I did learn it.
You did learn
I just was a little older than you.
Yeah. And we just need to see ourselves as a human family, as opposed to black, white, Muslim, Jewish, and I think we will progress quicker as a species. I like to look at things on a universal plane as opposed to a city, a county plane, or even a country plane.
I hear you. And tell me, what advice can you give to the young people here in Newark? One of the things we've all been dealing with, is the shootings. It just so happens a couple of days from the time that we did this show, there were shootings on Isabella, and I live a couple of blocks from Isabella, and it's a couple blocks, Isabella. It's 2 or 3 blocks.
That's right.
From South Orange Avenue over to, I think, 18th Avenue. And 5 people got shot the other day, and it's always younger people, and it's a little subculture within our city, and it's very frustrating because of so many young people, and I go to so many wakes. From if you only knew how many young people that I actually go to their wakes, 25 years old, 19 years old. That's one of the hard parts of the job that people don't realize. So you have to do a lot of praying. You have to be prayed up, because it can really affect you. There's no other way but for it to affect you if you care, But what advice can you give to the young folk?
The biggest advice I could say is communication. A lot of it, especially as black men growing up in the inner city, a lot of it is ego. I don't want to be played. I don't want to, they're going to think I'm a punk, or it's over really a couple of dollars, controlling entities and things, little blocks and things like that, when there is more money in, for example, buying and selling cars than drugs now. There's more money in real estate than drugs now. And the fact that you don't have to look over your shoulders, the fact that you would be able to afford your family, a house, an opportunity, a way out. And the person that you're killing, if you look down the line, you may be related to that person. You don't even know.
Many times you don't know. You're third or fourth cousin.
Yeah, so many, fathers having a child with this, this mother, and you don't even know that you're killing your half brother. And then again, like I said, it's communication. I don't know enough about the Bloods and the Crips to really comment on it, but I could definitely say that you guys went to school together. You guys were friends, so why should it be colors and then it's just it has to stop, because nobody's gonna win. It's just really no one's gonna win at the end of the day.
Right. When I was younger, we used to play basketball, so I was raised down by Shabazz.
Yeah, were you good?
I was, well, I don't want to brag, but I was real good. But we used to go over to the projects and play basketball, or I would come up by West Side and play, or go to Hillside and play, and we all knew each other. You had thugs then, or so-called thugs, the people who would rob you. They didn't necessarily rob you with guns then. They would be older than you and just rob you. But I would go all over. But once you became known as a good ball player, I was known as a good athlete, but also a good student. Especially in junior high, I was president of the senior class in the 9th grade, and things like that. So people knew me as being a good student, a good athlete. I dressed nice, and so I didn't have a whole lot of problems, and I knew a lot of people. Like now, I know a lot of people, and I'll be talking to someone, and then they're shocked to see how many people that I know just from being around playing sports. And that's one of the things I'm happy about, that we just did the basketball court up at Boylan Rec Center.
Okay.
And I ride by now and I see all of these kids, 25, 30, 40 kids out there playing basketball. And I say, wow. When I used to go to Ripple Field when I was a kid, we used to be in the playground all day long. So I thought to myself, I said, what would these kids be doing if not for this basketball court being here, you know?
Right.
So since I've been in, that's probably the thing that I'm most proud of, is being able to do something to have these kids off of the streets in a secure environment. And also that's a shout out for Boylan Rec Center.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it. But the basketball courts are beautiful. And public service sponsored the courts. Beautiful. So we're putting basketball leagues together, soccer leagues. You know, that's what keeps me busy. I'm working with people to do all of these things. Soccer clinics.
Okay.
Just things to keep the kids motivated, keep their
And
minds
occupied.
and bodies.
And occupied. And what you're doing is great. When I was growing up, and that's what we had. We had park lunches. You know, there was a lot of activities. And I think that a lot of us, we need to be more proactive in that. I think a lot of us are still trying to live our adolescence, even in our 30s and 40s. And no, it's your turn to be able to be part of the rec center, to be a youth coach, and to be a big brother, big sister. That's one of the most things that, one of the things that I'm most happy about La Rouge is I allow the younger generation to come there, party, and get out their artistic point of views through music. And
they do some great dancing in La
yeah,
Rouge.
they do. Yeah, they, yeah, they do.
I mean, I'm proud of you. I actually was there like a couple weeks, within the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I stopped in, you took me on a tour.
And those were kids from Jersey
offices.
City. Yeah.
Yeah, your upstairs offices, and you always have a plan.
Always.
And I noticed you had your plan written on the wall and data on the wall. I said, wow, this
So
guy.
I could see it, feel it, smell it.
Right.
You know, so I know whenever I get on, what they say, idle hands is the devil's workshop.
Right. So you always have a plan, and you're always thinking ahead.
And it's an inclusive plan to bring everybody
Right.
in.
It's not just a
you know,
selfish
it's not
plan.
just mine. I'm not interested. I want the whole community to be part of it.
Right. Exactly. Because you can make money and still do things for other people.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. If you do the right things for the right reasons.
You make more money doing things with other people.
The right things for the right reasons.
That's right.
And that's the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the ability to do the right things for the right reasons.
That's right.
I'll tell you, you're like a young me.
They like that.
Well, I mean, really, I talk to you, and it's like, you know, it's.
And you always
can't
received me with open arms. That was one of the things that I loved about you.
Well, I can learn. I always feel like I can learn from anyone. You can learn something from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe in doing all of the talking.
That's right.
I believe in doing a lot of listening. And because I'm older than you doesn't mean I can't learn from you, especially business-wise. Like, I'm well-versed in a lot of different things. But my education is mainly in as a therapist, mental health therapist, and public administration. But so I know a little bit about a whole lot of different things.
That's right.
But the business aspect, I need to learn more about that. And I do learn more about it because I'm dealing with it every day. That's economic development. And that's what's going to fuel the renaissance, what is fueling the renaissance of our city.
That's right.
And especially my ward.
And I want people of the community to be part of it. I don't mind outside investors, but you have a lot of people within the community that could opt out of their 401k and invest and learn. And, you know, there's tons of workshops where you can learn how to be an entrepreneur or just put your money in things that's going to work for you. Because, you know, what they're saying with Social Security and all of these other things is you need to create your own retirement plan. And you can do it by yourself, you know, if you want that.
Exactly. And I just want to say to the viewers that if you haven't been to Club Le Rouge, right down here in the great downtown Newark area, you should treat yourself and come down. You have food, types of food.
Good food. It's Caribbean cuisine with the Louisiana twist to it. La Rouge stands for the red in French, me being of Haitian descent. I like that. It's a great place.
Okay.
I'll go there.
Yeah, I've been there too. And good food, good drinks, good dancing.
Definitely. You might run into the councilman.
Yeah. Good chance. I like to stop in and say hello and support people who are trying to do the right thing in our city. So I drop in unexpectedly all over. Okay, Benedict, it's been great talking to you. We have some things coming up in the summer. I know you'll be involved. We'll be doing book bag giveaways.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at doing a senior ball, Westward Senior Ball. We haven't picked out the date, but we'd like to have you involved in that. And we're going to do a lot of things to really build the ward, bring the ward back. We're looking to do a restaurant in the West Ward somewhere. Maybe you can help, get involved with that.
I would love it.
So we're working on the safety aspect. And, once it becomes safe, we get a perception of safety, then we could easily bring franchises, individual entrepreneurs, because we need restaurants, we need a lot of things. So we have a business improvement district that we've worked on, and I think it's actually on my desk. I have to look it over. Then we're going to put it through the council for a vote. Every ward has a business improvement district except the West Ward. So I'm very proud about that. We'll have the West Ward Business Improvement District Partnership. So it'll be done in 2 phases. And first phase will be South Orange Avenue, 18th Avenue, Sanford, Mount Vernon. And the second phase will be Central Avenue, Bergen Street, Orange Street, Roseville Avenue. And so it's going to cover the whole West Ward. The West Ward is so huge, so I wanted to do it in 2 phases. But thanks again, Benedict, Mr. Benedict Guerrier.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for appearing on Councilman Joe's West Ward Corner. I look forward to seeing you real soon at Club La Rouge.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.